Μια ισχυρή προσωπικότητα και άνθρωπος με πολλές περγαμηνές είναι ο επόμενος φιλοξενούμενός μας που θα γνωρίσετε στη συνέχεια. Πρόκειται για τον Αρμένιο δόκτορα Hrayr Jebejian, που για να αναφερθούμε στις γνώσεις και τις ικανότητές του δεν αρκούν μόνο λίγα λεπτά για να περιγραφούν. Mr. Jebejian, thank you very much for participating in our program, for your time. If I'm not mistaken, you were born in Beirut. Let's start from where you were born.
Yes, Diana, thank you very much for this opportunity that we can be together again. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, in an Armenian family. I received my secondary education in the Armenian Evangelical Central High School. And then I continued my university education, where I received my bachelor's degree in business administration from Jebejian University in Beirut. And then I continued my graduate studies, and I did my master's degree in agricultural economics from the American University of Beirut. And then recently I also completed my doctorate in theology, and I focused on Bible engagement. And this is a specialization which deals how you can read and understand the Bible, taking into consideration the language and cultural factors that influence on your reading and understanding the text. Because different languages can create different meanings, and people who are coming from different cultural and historical backgrounds, all these matters do affect on the way that we read the text and the way that we understand the text. Sometimes we do not realize this, but it really happens. I work in an international Christian publishing organization called the Bible Societies. We are an organization which work in 200 countries around the world, and our primary intention is to translate, print, and distribute, and help people to be engaged with the Bible. The Bible is the book that brings all the Christian churches together, irrespective of which denomination we belong, whether we are Orthodox or Catholic or Protestant. The Bible is the book that brings all the churches together. So we as a Bible Society, as a Christian publishing organization, we work with all the Christian churches, all the church denominations, and our intention is to see how we can help the Christian communities in order to have the Bible in the language that they can understand. Maybe you would be surprised to know, Diana, that today around 2,362 languages are there where the Bible has been translated into. But you will say, wow, it's a big number, right?
It is.
But there are still 4,000 languages where the Bible is not being translated into.
Yet.
So we are in the process as an organization. We are also involved very much in translating the Bible into those languages which still do not have a copy of the Bible. For example, we have the translation in Greek, and we have modified that translation also. We have done it in modern Greek. So we are fortunate at that sense, those of us who are Greek-speaking people. As Armenians, we are fortunate because we have the Bible in our own language.
Yes.
But unfortunately, there are still so many languages around the world that they still do not have the Bible in their own language. So that's also one of the important aspects as to how we can help communities to have the Bible in their own language.
It's one of your targets.
That's also one of our targets. But at the same time, it is very, very important that we help people in order to really understand the Bible, the Word of God. And you will be surprised to know that how languages and culture do affect on understanding the text. If you read the Bible in Armenian language, you will understand it with an Armenian perspective. If you read the Bible in the Greek language, you will understand it with the Greek context and the Greek language. Maybe you will be surprised to know this, but these elements, language and culture, play a very important role in how we really understand the Word of God.
Yes. Interesting. I didn't see the Bible from that point of view. What about your family?
My family, I'm married to my wife. She's a professor in the university. She's a sociolinguist. Her specialization is in how minority languages can survive. those languages who are living in diaspora context. For example, if you are an Armenian and you're not living in your homeland, you live somewhere in the diaspora, how long do you think as a minority you can maintain your language? This is something which is very crucial for not only Armenians but also for other minority languages. She's a professor in university, and I have two children. My son Vahe is 22 years old, and my daughter Alek, she is 20. They are both in university.
Well done. What about your book, Mr. Jebejian? Where we have,
besides my Bible Society work, I'm also a writer, and I publish my articles in so many Armenian papers all around the diaspora, and including also Armenia. This book has been published in 2010. It talks about the Armenian path for struggle and existence. This is a book which includes all my articles throughout my last 30 years. And there I have covered a number of issues that deals with theology, it deals with social issues, it deals with ethnic issues, it deals with identity issues, and of course it is also deals with genocide. Because genocide for the Armenian people is the identity of the Armenian people, unfortunately.
Yes.
This has been a very tragic part of our history, and it became our identity. Wherever you go, whoever you talk to as an Armenian, that's the thing that comes up as a. So my book also includes quite a number of articles that I have written about the genocide.
Let's talk about genocide.
Yeah, this year is a special year for us, right, Diana?
Yes.
We're commemorating the centennial of the Armenian genocide. Now, this is my family album, if I may just share it with you. I love the history of my family, in a way the family tree. I have managed to go up to the 4th generation of my family, trying to trace my great-great-grandfathers. This is a kind of an interest for me, and I love it, and I have managed also to gather their pictures, where they were born, and what they learned, and so on. Yeah. The significance of this work that I have done, gathering the pictures of my family, is that we realize that we, as a family, we have lost 25 members of our family during the Armenian genocide. This is one family. Imagine, Diana, this is only one family where we have lost 25 members. And these 25 members we have lost not only in the 1915 genocide, because the massacres of the Armenians started before that. We had the Adana massacre, which in 1909, and then the 1915 genocide. Even massacre started in 1895. So during the 1909 and during the 1915, we lost 25 members of our family, extended family, and I have their pictures here, each and every one of them. Not only that, we also lost a lot of possessions, house and so on. My family, from my father's side, the grandfather, he's originally from Gaziantep, and I do have the pictures of my great-grandfather's house in Gaziantep, and we still have the deeds, of course, oh yes, of course we have the deeds. And now we understand that this house, which is a big villa, because my grandfather was a very extended family, so many brothers and sisters, this villa has been turned into a museum now. We have all the pictures. Yeah.
So it stands.
It stands. Of course, it stands. Yeah. It is in the district in Gaziantep, which they call it the Armenian district, where so many big families like the Jebejians, like the Karamanukians, and so on and so forth, they used to live in that district. So that is still there. Of course, if you dig the family history of each and every Armenian, you can see tragic event has happened. There is a lot of blood, unfortunately. We lost 1.5 million of Armenians. We lost huge land territories, and we also lost intellectual and cultural mind. I mean, if you look to the history of the Armenian genocide, started in April 24th, what did they do first? They first gathered all the poets, all the intellectuals, all the lawyers, all the lecturers, the professors. They gathered all these so-called the mindset of the Armenian community, and they massacred. For example, the great poets like Grigor Zorab, like Daniel Varujan, like Siamanto, all these great poets who were the intellectuals and the mind of the Armenian community, they massacred. And if you look to the age of these people, Siamanto a talented poet. He died when he was 30 years old. He was massacred. Now, 30 years old, if you look to his readings, you could see how beautiful his poets are, how deep his line of thinking is. And imagine if this poet had to live longer, yes, how much more he could offer to the Armenian culture, to the Armenian literature. A young man of 30 years of age, he died. One of the interesting part which I would like to share with you is, there are so many from my family history, is yes, the history of my great uncle. My grandmother's, from my father's side, my grandmother's brother. He was a doctor. Yes. He was called Dr. Filipov Nanyan, and he was a well-known doctor. Now his younger brother, at the age of 10 years old, he was killed by the Turks in the 1909 massacres. And this young boy, he was arrested, and he started pleading to those soldiers who arrested him, please do not kill me. You know, my brother is a well-known doctor. And in fact, his brother, my great uncle, he was a well-known doctor in the community. He said, my brother is a well-known doctor. He can help you. He can give you money. Please do not kill me. They smashed his head. That 10-year-old boy, they smashed his head and they killed him. Now, after that, during the First World War, when he was a medical doctor in a hospital, during the World War I, you know, the Turks were with the Germans. So they brought a commander from the Turkish army who was heavily wounded. And they brought him to the hospital where he was in charge there, yes, my great uncle. And when he saw him, because he was a well-known doctor, he was told that the one who killed your brother was this guy. So when they brought him to the hospital, he saw that man, he realized that this was the man who killed his younger brother. Now, Diana, this is not a Hollywood movie, huh?
Yes.
I mean, these things, we can see it in the Hollywood movies, but this is a real life story. So he saw that man who was wounded. And he started taking care of his wounds, and at the same time, he was all the time perspiring. And then the nurses and other doctors, they looked at him, they said, what's wrong with our doctor? I mean, we know him. He's a well-known doctor. I mean, what's wrong with him? Is he not able to do it this time? And then he looked at them and he said, the wound is very, very deep. And the nurses and the doctors looked at him. They thought that he was thinking about the wound of the soldier, that is very, very deep. They couldn't realize he was talking about the wound which is inside in his soul and in his heart. And then he eventually, of course, he told them this man was the killer of them. And after a few days, when the man was cured, he had to leave the hospital. He turned to him, to the Turkish soldier, and he said, if you know how to kill a person, we know how to cure a person, how to heal a person. You see, as an Armenians, we are not here an eye for an eye.
Yes.
When we talk about the commemoration of the Armenian genocide, we are struggling for a just cause. We are not here an eye for an eye, but we are here for justice. But we are here for justice. That 1.5 million Armenians were massacred in the First World War I in 1915, and this needs to be brought into justice. When the motto of our commemoration is to remember, yes, and to demand. In Armenian we say Gehishem, Yevgbahanchem. We remember and we demand. What we do, we remember. We remember all those who lost their lives in the 1915 genocide. We remember the dignity of those who were massacred. And we remember the dignity of all the intellectuals who still had to produce so much for the Armenian literature and for the Armenian cause. And we also remember and we demand the Armenian land. The land where we were supposed to be born there and to really grow up there and to nourish that with that land and for that land. So when we say we remember and we demand the dignity of the Armenian nation, which is a just cause, and that this dignity has to be brought back during this centennial commemoration of the Armenian genocide. We are in the 21st century, and this year is the 100th anniversary, and next year it will be the 101 anniversary. It will go on. It will go on. But the one thing is very, very clear. As you look into the commemoration of the Armenian genocide this year, the 100th anniversary, one thing which was very much emotional, but at the same time it was realistic. The big number of young people who took part in the Armenian commemoration events. Now, Diana, I am the third generation survivor of the Armenian genocide. My father was the second generation, and my grandfather was the first generation. My father was only 1 or 2 years old when he left Gaziantep and he came and settled in Middle East. So I was born in Middle East. So I'm the third generation. My son and my children are the fourth generation of the survivors. But even though they are the fourth generation of the survivors, but they still carry the pain of the genocide. And when we look into all these events that happened this year, and the big number of those young people, the fourth generation people who took part in the events, what was their motives, you think? It's the pain. It's the pain that they are carrying, the pain of the genocide. And we, as an Armenian people, we are in this struggle of pain. The pain will not vanish, but the pain needs to be brought into justice. And this is what we need to do, and this is where we need to continue in our Armenian homeland and diaspora challenges.
Okay. Mr. Jebejian, thank you very much for sharing us all your memories, all the pain you carry, and your realistic points of view and your hope that you give to people.
Thank you very much, Diana, for this opportunity, and I wish you all the best in all your programs and in all your endeavors that you do here in Cyprus. Thank you.
Thank you.